November 12, 2001. American Airlines. Flight 587 takes off from JFK in New York, bound for Santo Domingo. Just minutes later, tragedy strikes. The Airbus A300 crashes into Bell Harbor, a neighborhood in Queens, killing all 260 on board and 5 people on the ground. What exactly went wrong in those critical seconds after takeoff that caused this powerful plane to fall from the sky? Let's find out. The aircraft involved was an Airbus A300B 4-605R with registration number N14053, delivered brand new to American Airlines in July 1988. This jet was the first of the R models in the A300-600 series, specially designed for improved performance. Equipped with 2 powerful General Electric engines, it had a spacious 2-class seating setup for 251 passengers. On the day of the accident, every seat was occupied, with 16 in business class and 235 in economy. Captain Edward States was 42 years old, with approximately 10,000 flight hours, with around 1,600 hours on the Airbus A300. First Officer Sten Molin was 34 years old, with approximately 1,900 flight hours total, with about 1,200 hours on the Airbus A300. Before takeoff, the pilots and ground crew carefully check the plane to make sure everything is working well. They inspect the engines, systems, and other key parts. Everything looks good, with both engines running smoothly. Flight 587 is ready to go. As the plane begins to climb, the crew stays in contact with air traffic control. At 9:13:28 a.m., Flight 587 receives clearance for takeoff and leaves the ground at 9:14 a.m., about 1 minute and 40 seconds after the JAL plane. This is important because large planes like the 747 create strong wake turbulence, swirling air currents that can be dangerous for planes flying close behind. Flight 587 climbs to 500 feet and begins a left turn to a heading of 220 degrees. At 9:15 a.m., the captain reports to departure control that they have reached 1,300 feet and are climbing to 5,000 feet. The controller then instructs them to continue climbing to 13,000 feet. At 9:15, Flight 587 begins to feel the wake turbulence from the Japan Airlines 747. This turbulence causes the plane to shake, and First Officer Stan Molin, who is piloting, starts moving the rudder pedals from side to side, trying to stabilize the aircraft. From 9:15, Molin makes quick, strong rudder movements, switching back and forth between left and right. These rapid movements put intense lateral force on the plane's vertical stabilizer, the large fin on the tail, which is held in place by composite lugs and titanium bolts. The stabilizer is designed to handle a certain amount of stress, but these movements quickly push it beyond its limit. At 9:15, the vertical stabilizer breaks off from the aircraft and falls into Jamaica Bay, about a mile north of where the main wreckage will land. With the stabilizer gone, Flight 587 pitches down sharply and starts spinning out of control. The pilots struggle to regain control, but the aircraft soon enters a flat spin. The intense spinning causes both engines to break off from the wings shortly afterward. These engines fall several blocks away, one landing on a house and the other near a gas station. The engine loss cuts power to the flight data recorder, FDR, at 9:16. However, the cockpit voice recorder, CVR, which has emergency power, continues recording until the plane's impact. Just seconds before the crash, the stall warning sounds. After the crash, the NTSB started investigating the cause. They conducted 349 interviews and collected pieces of the wreckage. The A300 took off after a Japan Airlines 747 and flew into its wake turbulence. The first officer tried to stabilize the plane by using the rudder too aggressively, which caused too much stress on the vertical stabilizer. This eventually broke off, causing the plane to lose control and crash. The NTSB found that the excessive rudder inputs were unnecessary, and if the first officer had stopped, the plane would have stabilized. The crash was also affected by the design of the Airbus A300 sensitive rudder system and the training program used by American Airlines. Investigators were concerned about the composite materials used in the vertical stabilizer. Tests showed the material wasn't weak, but it failed because it was stressed beyond its limit. Hundreds of people witnessed the crash, and many reported seeing a fire or explosion before the plane hit the ground. At 9:16:14, Flight 587 crashed into the residential area of Bell Harbor, Queens, at Newport Avenue and Beach, 131st Street. All 260 people on board and 5 people on the ground are killed. Same thing happened with British Airways. Flight 9, all 4 engines failed. Here is the complete disaster breakdown. See you there.